Is everybody here? Okay, let me know. Let me know if everyone has popped back in. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Can't tell if anyone's here. Which is live. Okay, so I think we're all back. Hopefully we're all back. So let's get started. So here's the plan. So over the last few days with the cottage and yesterday with the tiling textures, we went over how to model and texture. So for the next 49 minutes actually, we're gonna model this wishing well. And then I'm gonna do a quick demo of it as well. So we're just gonna get started on that. I'm actually gonna keep this well blocking the screen while I do mine so that you guys can all work on your own. And then afterwards, we'll go over your models and check out some techniques for doing that. And then I have a short demo on normal maps and adding those to your level along with some specular maps and an easy software to allow you to do that for your final assignment because we don't have a lot of time. And then I will allow you time to work on your projects after we look at them. So after we go over normal mapping, we'll go into a short Zoom call and then we'll proceed. So right now, everybody should be working on the wishing well. if you want to know what's going on, we are doing a speed model right now. We're modeling this well. If you're just hopping in, you're welcome to join in. Low poly, textures, how far can you get in 50 minutes? That is the question.
You've got a great idea. You know it'll work, but nobody else believes in you. Would you open 19 credit cards to make it happen? Tito Beverage did, and now we're drinking Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's 100% corn and certified gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume or 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Imagine this. Your favorite true crime podcast is playing. The host is about to reveal the identity of the killer, but just as the big moment arrives, something else dies. Your cell service. With Spotify Premium, you'll never have to kill your fun again. With offline listening mode, you can save your fave podcasts for data-free streaming anywhere, anytime. And you can try Premium free for 1 month. Tap the banner to learn more.
Some lag issues with.
Long before Shane McAnally was a hitmaker in Nashville. He was a poor kid from Texas with dreams of being a country music star. And that is when he got on the TV show Star Search.
My mom had this outfit made for me that was like green suede with like these long fringe pieces on it, and I looked like Glenn Campbell on crack.
I'm Alex Bloomberg. On Without Fail from Gimlet, I talk to all kinds of people about their failures on the path to success. Tap now to listen on Spotify.
Hey, Spotifyers! Click or tap the banner to listen to your Summer Rewind. Time for your Summer Rewind. We've made you a new playlist featuring your old summer playlists. Brought to you by Hamilton. Streaming exclusively July 3rd on Disney+.
Fix Neon presents Synthwave. Hundreds of tracks of cyberpunk, synthwave, indie pop, retro rock, chillwave, and more. Featuring retro artists Scandroid, Fury Weekend, The Bad Dreamers, Pilot, Prism, LeBrock, Three Force, Ace Marino, Mega Drive, Messenger, and more. Listen now on Spotify.
And I'm back. Hope everyone's having a got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go, but then you have a little bit more time before you actually have to submit. Keep partying on. Party on.
Streaming July 3rd on Disney Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hamilton.
$10 founder father without a father. Experience the journey.
By working
prize-winning phenomenon is here. Hamilton, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Streaming July 3rd, exclusively on Disney+.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
All right, about 2 more minutes left on this bad boy. Continue the non-stop party. And one more minute, my friends. Happy Crafter 15:6 says, well, it's a well. Well, yes, it's a well. You're coming in late. That's quite okay. Oh, no, you're not. Gosh, you scared me. How did I scare you? No, you're not supposed to see what I'm doing. I was hiding it. Porpoise. We're just doing a quick model to see how fast we can model a well. Well, it's a well. Put the well down here. For y'all to see. For y'all to see. All of a sudden I talked and scared you. Happens. It happens. Stand. All right, class. So all you have to do now is take a screenshot of your lovely wells. I had to rush mine. Just like you guys, I had to rush mine. Dove Soap says, can you show us how to apply textures one more time? Yes, because I'm going to redo this in just a moment. So it's okay if you didn't. Just post what you have, and we're going to be redoing this whole thing. We're going to go all over. We're going to go all about the textures application just for you. for anyone just coming in, this is a speed modeling project, speed modeling and texturing. So at the beginning of every class, I like to give my students a rapid project to try and solve problems really quick, try and get frustrated maybe a little bit, and try to just get as far as they can in modeling and texturing, or just modeling or texturing. And then afterwards, as a class, we talk about what we learned and different ways to approach the same problems. I find it a useful method for teaching. And so we're going to go over this. I will do the same. I will follow my own assignment, and using my snipping tool, I'm just going to grab a little snapshot and post it up on the Discord. Boop. Boop. All right, class, so let's do this. While you're finishing up and posting those to Discord, let's take a 10-minute break, because it's good to get away from the computer and look at something else, get them off the screen for a minute. It's just a healthy issue. So this is a part of self-wellness. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 11:15 my time, 11:15 p.m. my time, 2:15 p.m. your time, 10 minutes from now, and take a look at what your models look like. And then we will go over how to apply textures and how I kind of approach this. And it should be able to get further along than I did with this one to show you guys. And it's going to be very helpful when comes time to model and texture your own houses. We'll be right back.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
We're back, and I even unmuted it just for you guys. Okay. Didn't mean to scare you guys. Is everybody here? Everyone ready to go? Okay, so here we go. So Dove Soap, you asked how to apply textures. We're going to go over all of that good stuff right now. Sweet. So you're trying to, oh, this is great. So we'll look at these during class, but I love this. So it looks like we're all having trouble applying textures. This is good to know. This is why we do these. This is why we do these. This is perfect. And then you can rewatch the VOD on how to do this. Okay, so here is the model I did. You know what? We're just gonna, we'll save this as a version, then I'll hit delete. What I always like to do is save these as versions. So I'm gonna go to my, my well speed model. And we'll call this well 001, baby. Okay. And then I will just do a new one as well 002. I like to save mine as MAs. I'm just kind of funny that way. So here's well 002. Okay. Now I can just take everything I've done so far and just hit, we're just gonna delete it all. Ah! The one thing I am gonna leave in my scene is my image plane. So I actually hit it. We've all gone over how to create image planes, so I'm not gonna go over that again. Show select, maybe I deleted it. Display, oh, there we go, show selection. Okay, so there's the image plane that I brought in. We all know how to do that already, so I'm not gonna go over it. So the first thing I did when I looked at this image is I did kind of an inventory of the textures I would need for it. And so right off the bat, I saw I needed a grass texture, a cement texture right here for the ground, kind of an older brick rock texture, like a wooden texture for the bucket, a wood texture for these posts, and the shingles. And I think that's all I really needed. The only one I didn't grab before is a metal texture. And honestly, I didn't grab a rope texture. So I think I'm gonna grab those two now. I'm gonna show you how I applied those. And then we're gonna show you how I applied different textures to different objects as well. Hopefully everyone's in here paying attention. Okay, so let's do this. So where I got the textures, this is the easiest part. And the reason I like to get the textures out of the way first is so I'm not splitting up my time hopping around grabbing textures. While I'm modeling, if I decide a texture doesn't quite work, I can always go back and change it. It's not that difficult to swap out a file. So I go to a little place called textures.com, formerly known as cgstextures.com. It's just called textures.com. It's free. You can apply for your own free, your free profile. You do have to sign up for it, but this is like the mecca for game art textures. You may even notice when you start playing games that you'll see a lot of these textures inside the games that you play. I know I do all the time. But here's how I found them. So when I was looking for the grass textures or even the brick textures, right? I think I just used brick, medieval stones. Just click through here, and I just found one that looked pretty good. I think I chose mixed sizes, and I chose one of these. I think it might have been like this one. I'm not sure. And then I just used the smallest one because it's free and I don't have to pay for it. And this is just a tileable texture anyway. Just a really easy way to get textures. We can type in grass. That's where I got the grass texture. You can see here's alpha versions, but down here I think I grabbed this one for the grass. So the only ones I didn't grab rope or metal. So I'm going to grab those and we're going to apply those in our render editor just so we can see it. Let's see if there are any good ropes. Like honestly, here's one right here. This will do the job for us, this little rope texture right here. It's a long skinny one. It's a 1024 by 253. We'll grab it. It's free. Great. I'll take it. That sounds great. And then I needed a simple metal, plain metal texture. So I type in metal. And I don't want anything too crazy. I'm going to scroll down here. These ones look pretty good. These are PBR. I wouldn't mind a photograph one because I'm going to show how to do something here in just a minute. You know what? This one looks fun. We'll just grab it. It may not look perfect, but it's a 5x12 by 512. Perfect. It's free. I'll grab it. So it will download here. So I'm just going to go into my downloads folder. Here you can see all this. They're right here down at the bottom. I'm going to cut those. Go into my modeling folder right here under my well speed model. I created a texture folder, which apparently I didn't put all my textures in it. But here are all the textures I have. So I have that brick. Here's a concrete. Apparently I grabbed 2 grass textures. I only need 1, so I'll delete one. We have this wood. There's the roof tiles and the bucket. And I'm going to paste in my metal and my rope. So now we're going to crack and open Maya. So that's quite a few textures for this. I could have probably, the main ones that I really needed to worry about was probably the wood, the roof, and the bricks. And the rest I could have done away with and still made a pretty good well. But let's go in here and go to our render editors, Hypershade, and we'll apply those materials. Now, typically we use a Lambert. But today I'm using a Blinn, and I'm going to explain it why. So Blinn has reflectivity, and it also uses normal maps, which I'm going to teach you how to make in just a minute. I think for this final assignment, because this class is so rapid, I'm just going to require colors, but I do want to teach you about bump mapping a little bit. So I'm going to select Blinn. I'm going to click on that twice to make a couple of them, and I'm going to name them right here. I'm going to name one of them rope. And I will name the other one metal for this project, just so I know exactly where they are and what they're supposed to be. So I'm going to click on the rope one, click on this little checkerboard to apply the material. It pops up a little create render node. I'm going to click on file, and this will add a file node to that rope. You can see it's black right now because it doesn't have a texture on it. So I'll click that file. It's going to open up, and I'm going to go to my textures and my well speed model, and here is the, where's the rope? Textures various. What is that? Oh, here's the rope. Apparently it's called various OT31 seamless. We'll just select that. So now the rope texture's here. Then I'm going to select, oh, I've got 2 metal ones. Apparently I made another one before. I'm going to select the metal and do the same thing. So the checkerboard, click file on the create render node, and then click on the folder. And we'll add the metal. Here we go. Hammered black metal. Cool. That'll work. So here you see the list of all my textures. Some of you are asking how to add textures to separate faces. So I'm going to go over that really quick with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the base. I'm going to start at the very bottom of this thing and start building my way up. So the first thing you have is this like circle going around the well with concrete and then the grass around it. I'm going to build that all as one piece and then show you guys how to apply textures to more than one face. So I'm actually going to use a cylinder. I'll show you why in just a second. We'll do this. I'm going to actually do this differently than I did it. I'm going to go to modify, center pivot. I'm going to sit and mention everything I do here. I'm going to snap it down to my grid and just talk. I'm going to do a lot of talking on this. So I'm going to guesstimate about how the diameter I think that circle is, and then I'm going to build my well based off of that. So that is where this concrete will be. Okay, and just to show you this, how to apply on multiple things. What we can do, the beautiful thing about tileable textures is I can start applying them at any time, and I can readjust my UVs, I can readjust my model, and I can just have a jolly good time about it. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I have my Twitch up in case you guys are chatting. Mav Polaris, thanks for stopping by. Okay, let me close this. So we've looked at our textures.com. That's where you look at it. So I'm going to open up my Hypershade again, render editors, Hypershade. Like I said, I'm going to keep talking through this. And so we can apply materials in a couple different ways. The way I showed you guys earlier is to middle mouse drop it. I'm going to show you two different ways. So one, with this concrete, I can middle mouse drop right on there, or I can actually select my object, right click over concrete, and say assign material to select. It will do the same thing. So what I want to do out of this, I want to actually bring my grass, I want to expand my grass out of this. So I'm going to grab this border edge and just click extrude edge and go into my scale tool and scale it out. And you can see when I scale that out, it's got that concrete texture attached to it. Right? So I'm scaling that up and down, and it doesn't look very good either. The UVs are not good when you stretch it out. They kind of stay in one position. But I'm going to stretch this out. This is going to be my grass, and I'm going to call that good. Now, one thing I'm actually going to do is, because this concrete kind of recesses in the grass a little bit, I'm going to extrude this again. I'm going to extrude these faces and just push them down a little bit, and then scale them in slightly. So that's where the concrete's going to go. The grass is going to be all the rest of the texture. Okay, so here's a trick for you. We'll see how this works. So I'm going to UV these as two separate pieces. So if we look in my UV editor, oops, I chose UV set, not. Here we go. So here's my UV editor, and you see here are my UVs. So the UVs of the centerpiece are this nice circle. It's actually not too bad. I can actually use that thing entirely. The UVs for everything I extruded are just one big square. And so they're all the same square UVs across the whole thing. It just doesn't look very good. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to grab the UVs from the center because they look okay. And I'm going to go to UV shell. So I can bring these out here. And I'm going to scale them down, or scale them up, sorry, so that concrete repeats about to where I think it looks pretty good. So I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to show you how to apply textures to the same object. So having the middle bit selected, I'm going to select all the faces, hold down Shift and marquee over the whole thing. And that will select the rest of my model except for the concrete. Now I'm going to hover over the grass node in my render, my Hypershade, right click and say assign material to selected. So now it assigns that material to those faces, but not the center faces that I don't have selected. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to repeat this over and over again, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Okay, so now you see I have the grass applied. It looks like garbage. It's hot garbage. So we need to fix it. So what's kind of cool is I can actually hover over this grass and say select objects with material, and it'll actually select the faces that are assigned to that material, and it won't select that concrete in the middle. This is actually very helpful. So now I want to just do a flat UV unwrap of this based just on the camera. So I'm going to go in my top-down mode, click UV, and camera based. So if you look at my UV editor here, it just did this perfectly top-down view of it. And they won't be perfect around this little edge ring, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm actually okay if they stretch a little bit because this is a speed project and I'm just trying to do things fast. So you can see the grass is huge. This is like you're the size of an ant walking through this grass, right? We want it to be a human-sized grass. So in my UV editor again, can now grab this whole batch of UVs from the grass, and we can move it anywhere on here. We can just move it out of the way. This is the concrete right here. This is the grass, and we're just going to scale this up until this grass feels like it's, you know, human scaled grass. That is probably good enough. We'll just leave it there. We can always adjust this later because right now it looks too small. I'm going to make it actually a little bit smaller. There we go. Lovely, lovely. And you can see the grass kind of stretches over these too. I'm okay with that. We can even soften the edges, mesh display, soften edge around these corners where the grass kind of pops up. So you can see that kind of looks like the picture now, right? We have the grass kind of coming up and then the concrete is kind of caved in. Okay, so we're going to start blocking out this centerpiece. And let's start blocking out with some basic shapes first so we can see how we want this whole thing to look. So I'm going to use another cylinder because that's pretty close to the shape of that of this well. And if I hold down D and V, I can snap my pivot to the bottom of this. And then hold down V, I can snap it down against this original thing we made. And we scale it to about where we eyeball it. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I totally can't see all of my image plane. There we go. To about where we think that this goes around this object. So it's got two things. It's got the well itself, and then I notice it's got kind of this rock step in front of it. We'll put that on later. But right now I'm going to worry about the biggest piece, which is this well shape. We'll scale it to about where we think it should be. And I'm going to say right there is pretty good. Okay. And now, what we can do is we're just going to grab some cubes and start building out the sides of this. This is just a speed model, so we're just trying to go fast. And if we're just doing the side of this, I'm just going to build one side because it's symmetrical. I only really need to ever build is one side. Scale this up, and we're just going to eyeball it to about how the width that I think looks about right on this. A little bit. Height-wise, it feels about there, but let's make another box. Great polygon, cube. I'm going to start assigning textures in just a second here. But this is going to be my roof. Collapse that top edge. Bring it up. And we can use the image if we want. If we go into this front mode, we can generally see about how tall all this stuff should be. And if I wanted to be picky on this, the size of the well, wow, I think I got it pretty well, actually. Got it pretty well. And the height of this is looking pretty spot on too. Okay, so that works. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so Gloria says, I'm not sure how to... Oh, you got it. You got it. So you got it working. I'm going to show you how to make them show up as a good pattern. I'm actually going over that right now. Okay, so here is the roof of this. And I think it actually needs to go out a little bit further than this pole. So I'm going to guesstimate that. And I actually don't care about these faces anymore because I'm just going to extrude this thing up. Like I said, we're just trying to do this fast. So this needs a little bit of width to it. So I'm just going to grab the object, go to extrude, and grab this little blue arm, and we can extrude the roof up. Now it's got some mass to it. Like I say, we're just going fast on this. Okay, so I notice on this post right here that it kind of tapers up at the top. So I'm just going to extrude this face up and taper it in a little bit. That's where that top board is going to sit on. And then, actually, before I even start doing anything, you know what we're going to do? Nah, we're not. We're going to take this easy. The other thing I notice is it's got this little post thing right here. So I'm just going to use my Insert Edge Loop tool and create that. That's what that piece of wood is going to sit on. So I can grab both of these sides of it now because that looks like the way it goes. And I'm going to hit Extrude. Pull that blue bar, I can pull those out. So I think that is about the entire model for this. So before we get started, I'm going to start assigning a few textures just so I can see what this looks like. Plus, it makes me feel like we're getting along further. So this one, the shingles, looks like it's made of wood underneath and then the shingles on top. So I'm just going to assign my generic wood texture to the whole thing. And then on the top, I'm going to assign my shingle textures. We assign those on. And I'll worry about the wood a little later. The shingles actually aren't the worst I've ever seen. So let's look at them here. Look at that weird shape. That is a weird shape. It's hot garbage. Okay, so we're going to go just on these top ones, and we're going to UV automatic map those. And I'm going to grab them, go to shell. I can drag these out. Now I can make these shingles fit the way I want them to, and they actually look pretty good. I chose some old beat up shingles. That doesn't look too bad. So we're going to leave those like that. And for now, those look okay for the moment. And then the wood underneath looks terrible. But we're going to worry about that later. We have bigger fish to fry. We want to hit the most visible things first before we start worrying about anything else. So now let's work on this post. So I'm just going to middle mouse drag the stone out onto it, and middle mouse drag the stone out onto this main base piece. And you can see, just like Gloria said, they don't look right. They're not flowing right. And that's okay. We'll fix that. So what I notice on this rock is it's got this lip going around the outside. So I'm going to add that on really quick before I start UV unwrapping. So it looks, I'm just using my insert edge loop tool to wrap around and add that right there. And then I'm going to go around the face of the entire object, extrude face, and we're just going to pull that out, whoop, like that. To about where we think it's going to go. We're just trying to work fast here. And then I'm just going to isolate this whole thing for just a moment. So I can see the bottom. I don't need this, I don't need the cap on the bottom. It's not doing me any good. I'm going to delete that. And now I want to make the actual well. I want to make this have a hole in it where it would go down to the water. So I'm going to grab this entire cap on top. Make sure I don't have anything selected on the side. And I'm going to extrude that. Using my scale tool, I can scale that in to about the width. Oop, let me roll around. To about the width that I think this whole thing is. Which it's got some width to it. So I think about there. And then I'm going to hit extrude and scale down. All the way down into the ground. Just snap it down to the bottom. And I'm just going to hit delete on that so I don't have to worry about unwrapping it. Okay, so now it doesn't look great, right? So we're going to fix it. And this is where this one gets a little bit tricky. For how we unwrap it. Let's try a couple different ways. You can try right here. Here is the original unwrap. What happens if I just hit unfold on that? Oh, that actually was not bad. Interesting. So I just hit unfold on this, and the outside looks pretty good. This top one looks like a hot mess, though. That did not unfold well. In fact, it was kind of angry. But that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. We're going to do something, though. I'm going to show you the back of this is higher than this one. So I'm realizing I don't need to unwrap an entire well. I just want to unwrap half of it and then reuse the other half and just wrap it around. So this is what I try and teach all the time is try and reuse as much work as you can. So I am going to take half of this and delete it. Boom. Just going to delete half of it. Now we only have to worry about unwrapping half of this. Makes my life a lot easier. And I'll show you why in just a second. We have this half and this half. And so I'm noticing something. This is unwrapped pretty well. So if this outside that I just went ahead and unfolded, and this is not the way I did it before, but if I start to scale this out, like it doesn't look too bad, right? So I'm like, man, I can just go with this. This is speed modeling at its finest. Problem is this inside does not look good. So it's got kind of this mess because it's all based off of a rounded circle. And so I'm going to show you how to flatten all this out. So bear with me. Let me scale up my UV editor. There's a couple ways to do this. There's some more automatic ways, but I'm going to show you just the way I like to do it when I'm just not trying to think too much. I'm going to grab one line. This is actually the bottom of that. And if I use my scale tool, I can flatten this whole thing out, scale it up, and I want to make it the width of about this piece right here because I want to sew that all back on. So then I'm going to grab the next ring of UVs, and this is actually this lip right here, and I'm going to scale those the same way. Now here's the beauty of tileable textures. However you unwrap the UVs, that's how you can adjust and change the way the texture map looks. Whereas in unique textures, like on our characters, we were kind of like stuck to that defined UV pattern, and then we had to paint to make it look right. So on this one, you can see these UVs match up to the outside. There's the same amount, even though they're not looking right at the moment. Yeah, and Maya does have some nice tools. I don't know where my tools are, though. They used to be up here. So tools, move, smudge, lattice, grab, cut. There's a whole bunch right here. Tweak, smear, pinch, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to use any of those because I don't want to think too much. So I'm just going to grab these ones by the UVs, and I'm just going to do the same thing I was doing. I'm just going to use the scale tool to straighten all these out, so they all match up perfectly. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. This is going to be cool. Just straighten them all out. And by straightening these all out, they start to go, they follow the curve of this well up top. And you can probably see them, if I shorten this, you'll probably start to be able to see them start to straighten out right here. So watch as I straighten these out. Make them all match up. You can see they start to straighten out. If you're confused, watch the video again after I publish it. I promise it takes a while to make sense, but once it does, it's really simple. But the only way to learn 3D modeling is through repetition. So if you get frustrated and say it's too hard, I can't do it, you're probably not going to progress. It takes some time. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this down, UVs. I want to see which side these match to. So if I highlight this one, yep. So see how these line up? They match perfectly. So I'm going to grab these UV shells now and match them up. Holding down V, and snap them into these right here. You'll see them start to line up in the viewport. This is probably the most difficult, time-consuming piece in this whole thing, because the boxier and simpler, more simple your shapes are, the easier it is to UV unwrap them. Cubes are like the easiest thing in the world to wrap. Since these have curves, they're a little bit more finicky. Not impossible. All right. So like I say, there are tools within Maya that snap these together a lot easier. But now you can see this top is starting to all be very similar. So I just have to now select these, all these bottom ones that have twins on the other side. And we'll just move and sew. So these all match up now, although I do want to give them a little bit longer. We can stretch those out a little bit longer, see? Stretch this down and they'll match a lot better. There we go. And this inside one, we'll stretch it to match kind of that bottom shape. All stretch up. Beautiful. Beauty. Okay. So now this whole thing is looking pretty good. See on this top lip over here, it has like the grout in between. So I might even adjust the whole thing. Scroll it until it's kind of got a soft edge going across. And then that's close enough. Okay, so now that we have that guy all unwrapped, we can now repeat that shape. So the back side goes up a lot higher. So I'm just going to hit Control D now on this this half, and holding down J in my rotate, I'll snap it all the way around. And now on this side, because the pole is going to be hiding this section of it, I'm just going to highlight all the vertices on that side and just scale it up. Right? So this one eventually will go right over here and hide it. And that is the whole interior of my well right now. Okay, so now let's fix this one. And then we'll just rotate it over there. You can see in the UV editor, this is what it looks like. Not super pretty. What we can do, we'll just auto map this one as well. Boom, we auto map it. So you should have these faces like this one. Should all be combined. You can just grab the whole thing. The beauty is you can just rotate it. Get it closer to what you want. Maybe? Maybe not. I think these are very stretched. That is not even the shape. So I am going to, before I auto map this again, I'm going to make sure that I hit reason that's not letting me. I'm going to hit edit. Oh, because it was scaled. Sometimes that happens. I'm going to freeze transformations on it because it was not. So I'm going to modify freeze transformation. That'll take all the scaling off of it because sometimes scaling translates into the UVs. Okay, so now let's try UV automatic unwrapping. Oh, look at that. Boom. That's actually not too shabby. It's not bad at all. Let's look in the UV editor. Yes, those are the shapes we were looking for. So let's scoot that out. And now what I can do is I could sit and sew all this together, especially these bottom pieces. They wrap around properly. Some of these top pieces. Those will wrap around pretty nice. These kind of pieces, I also want those to wrap as best I can. Oops, no. So those are done. This one, they can even overlap, they don't care. This is the top. Guys, oh, these were the bottom pieces. Yeah, we can just snap those up here. Let them overlap, whatever. Doesn't matter really. So that actually, for the sake of a speed model, that's not too bad. The only thing I could say is maybe the bricks need to be a little bit smaller. And if that's the case, we can just scale this down so they match close enough to where we want them. Makes me think that these ones could be a little bit wider. There, that looks better. Same one thing to this one. Okay, so these are pretty much done. So let's grab this one and just get rid of it. Now we can just hit duplicate on this, move it into position, and our well is coming along pretty well. Get it? Pretty well. Okay, so let's start working on the wood up top. So same thing. So here is this block of wood, this beam that's going to go across the whole thing up here. And since these are all just basically cubes, I don't want to start modeling too many of these, because if I get it to the right size I want and unwrap it now, it's going to mean that I can duplicate it with the textures on and not have to unwrap it as much going forward. Because this is a speed model, so we just want to work as fast as we can to try and block this out. So this, I'm going to modify freeze transforms again, so I don't have issues unwrapping it. UV automatic unwrap, we're just going to automatic wrap it. I don't know what the texture looks like yet, so let's throw that basic wood texture on. Windows, rendering editor, Hypershade. Throw the wood on that. Oh, look at that. That looks not bad. Not bad at all. It's not even that much I have to do with it. I mean, what I can do is sew it all together so that the sides all match up. And put the tops on it. But that doesn't look too bad. So we're gonna leave that like that, and we're gonna build out some extra things on this. So really, if we just want to eyeball this whole thing, now that that's unwrapped, I can just move that one over to this side because it's already unwrapped. And now I think what I'm gonna make is let's lighten this up. Is one of the prominent pieces this nice curvy piece. So I'm going to turn this same piece of wood into that curvy piece. I'm going to move it 90 degrees, scale it down just a little bit, and bring it down here to where it matches in. And then I think what I want to do, because I don't want to mess up the UVs, is I will just use my insert edge loop tool, put an edge loop about here, and then I will just cut off the top of it. And then using my vertices, I can now just slide this over like that inside of this, and then I will just add another edge loop. Insert edge loop, we'll insert one right here in the middle. I will just start rotating that. Hit Y, repeat it. Slide this one over. Start to create that that shape language. Okay. And then make sure it's skinny enough that it won't be visible throughout the whole thing. So it might not be perfect, but for doing it speedily, it's not bad. All right, now I can just grab this one. Oops, Control D, duplicate it over, rotate it 90 degrees, boom, boom, boom. Shove it back in the other side. Hold down Shift and slide it all over to the other side. Now we have those on both sides. Oh, except for, apparently I only grabbed one of them. That one back over here. And so on and so forth. Right, so now if I wanted to add these center boards, underneath here, scale that out. They're already unwrapped, so it makes my life a little bit easier. Slide in. So pretty quick, the only other thing I'm going to do right now is, because of time, so this is about 30 minutes, so it took a little while, but you can see it's starting to look okay. Everybody checked out, or are you still paying attention, hopefully? Okay, so let's do something else. So I'm just going to do the bucket really quick because I thought that was a cool shape. I'll say Gloria's still watching. Okay. Gloria says she's checked out. Okay. So here's the bucket. I found this cool texture that had kind of a cool like bucket type of look for it to it. See that? I am going to grab this, and I think what I'm going to do, just to make my life easier again, is cut off the top of it. Yeah, I was going to. Oops. It. So we'll just have that cap selected. Hit delete. Pretty good. Okay, this is going to be our bucket. Scale this down just a little bit. We're just going to use these default UVs. Should work all right. Go into UV mode. Happened. I hit cap lock. Why is it? Oh, symmetry objects. How did I turn? I turned symmetry on. Off. Okay. Somehow I accidentally turned symmetry on. And I lost my marquee tool. It's not fun. There it is. Hopefully it'll come back. Drives me nuts when I push a hotkey and I have no idea what happened. Let's try this again. There we go. It's working right now. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate this around. And you can see it's already got kind of those ridges on it, like a bucket. So I thought, why not? Just go with that. And now since this is pretty much unwrapped, I can just extrude this whole thing. And it will keep those inside UVs. Now I can just mesh display reverse. So the normals are pointed the right way. Now we've created the bucket really quick. So this is looking pretty good. Obviously, it still has a lot more work I could do with it. So one thing I wanted you to notice early on, I used a blend instead of a Lambert. So I want to make these textures look more high res and more gamey. So what a Lambert has, and we're going to go over this in more detail tomorrow because I don't think we'll have enough time today. But what Lambert has is more options for it. Or sorry, a blend has more options. A Lambert is just this flat color. So it's great for those low poly models that we do where we don't have any other attributes. But you notice that this Lambert one is kind of shiny. And that's because it reflects light. If I add a light to my scene, I'm just going to do that really quick. Create lights. We'll just pop in a point light. And then if we hit 7, it'll turn on my lights. So if I turn on my lights in my scene, you can see that light shines off of a blend. And it doesn't shine off of a Lambert. So what I want to do is I want to use that light to make things pop out more. I'm going to turn off my lights and really use these to their full advantage. So there's a software you can use if you look for Crazy Bump. Is one of the easiest ways to turn a photograph into a normal map. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn these bricks into a bump map so we can see how they look more three-dimensional. So if we open up Crazy Bump, and I will put the link in the chat. I have a student version you guys didn't download, or if you download the official version, I think it lets you use it for 30 days. Yeah, so you have a free 30-day demo you can use if you just go to crazybump.com. But this is the coolest software. It's a little bit dated now, but it works so well to make bump maps out of regular image. So I'm going to click on open. And then I'm going to click on open photograph from a file. And it'll pull up a little editor here. Under 3D modeling, I'm going to go to my well speed model. And I'm going to select this textures, this rock texture, and hit open. So Crazy Bump is going to think, and then it's going to accidentally shut down. This happened to me last time. Maybe because I have too many things running. Let's try it again. All right, let's try Crazy Bump again. Hit open from a file. We're going to grab our little brick texture. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So now we're going to select which one we think looks like it's bumping outwards properly. This one looks like it's inversed. This one actually kind of looks like brick popping out. So we're going to select this shape. And what it will do is it will auto-generate a normal map. And what a normal map does, here is a preview, and scale this up, is it uses that photograph to guesstimate how light should bounce off of the brick. If I move this ball around, you can see this is just a fake normal map trying to give you the illusion of brick from that texture, right? And that looks pretty good by default. The other thing it can do is guesstimate where that image should be the shiniest. And it usually uses light and dark to do that. So you have some options here. You have your normal map and then your specular map. These are the two I'm going to play with. So you can see the white would be the shiniest, and that's actually the edges of the brick. So it works out pretty well. This is going to be pretty shiny, but we're going to add it to our scene just to show how it works. So if I click on my normal map and hit save, this little save button, it'll save normals to file. And you can see right here, it'll save that same name, brick old mix size, but then it will add the suffix of normal on it. So we'll hit save. I'm going to grab my specular and hit save. Save specular to file, hit save. And while we're at it, let's do one more. Let's do the shingles as well. Let's make the shingle. Actually, let's make the grass pop out. We'll do a couple of them while we're at it. We might as well. So here's that grass texture. So we hit open on that. Didn't shut down. We'll just select this one. So here's that grass texture. It looks a little wonky. I don't know how good this is going to look, but we're just going to save it out. Here's my specular map. Pretty shiny. You can go through here and change the intensity, the sharpness. There's a whole bunch of sliders to make it look better. But I don't have time to do that. So I'm going to hit yes, save normals to a file. We've got a grass normal, specular. We're going to save those. We now have our specular for our grass. We're going to hit save. And just for fun, we're going to do one more. Open photograph from a file. Here we go. And we're going to do our roof texture. Okay, and once again, this one I think looks better. Good enough anyway. I'm gonna hit save on that one. Save them to a file and our specular. They look way too strong, but we're gonna go with it anyway. And we're gonna hit save. Okay, so we're gonna close up. We're done with Crazy Bump. It made us some maps to use. We're gonna see if we can make this brick look more three-dimensional. You guys ready for this? I think you are. I think you're ready for it. Okay. Gloria says yes. Yes, we have somebody on board. I love it when students are actually interested in this. Okay, so we'll go to Windows, Rendering Editors, Hypershade, and let's open up. Let's pop this thing open. Let's look at this blend. So as we said before, here's the Lambert. You can see that it's just this dull matte finish. The blend has this shiny image to it. So let's click on our stone, which you can see just has its universal shine on it. And we have a whole bunch of options over here. The ones we want to worry about, and keep this in mind if you want to add these to your buildings. And this is going to be extra credit if you guys add normal and specular maps. If you only have color, I'm okay with that. Extra credit because this is a condensed 3 weeks course. I can't believe how much you guys are doing in only 3 weeks. You get extra credit if you add the normal map and specular maps. So let's click the specular. No, let's do the bump first. So we're going to add the bump. So right here under bump normal mapping, we're going to click on this little checkerboard just like we did with the color. It's going to send us through a very similar process. Only once you hit file, it's going to send us to this one, the 2D bump attributes. The one we want to worry about is right here, this yellow one, the bump value. So I'm going to click on that one, and it's going to allow me to add a file. So the image file we're going to add is right here. This was the rocks, right? The brick mixed norm, NRM is the normal prefix, and here's what it looks like. We're going to hit open. Boom, and you can see the image on this thing changes. Let's see how it looks in our scene. Pretty strong, but kind of cool. Like it's all bumping out now, right? So if we go into the light mode, it's a little harsh, but it works. It's bouncing the light off of it. It's starting to look like brick. Let's add the specular and see if that helps at all. We'll grab our stone again. we're going to click on specular color. Go to File.
Whether you're breaking a light sweat,
And we're going to go to Brick Old Spec. Oh, this is bright. This is bright. Let's see what happens.
you need a good way to replenish.
So now the light is actually shining off those brick. I think I messed this up. Let me see.
Replenish with V8, the plant-based post-workout drink with just as much potassium as a small banana, and is always ripe for the picking. After you've kicked into high gear, fuel up with V8, the original plant-powered drink. Veg up. Tap to buy now.
Thanks for listening to Spotify.
Yeah, specular color, so that's on there.
You could have
Yep.
listened to
So there we go. So you can see now the
some vinyl.
light is just really funny on it.
Cassette tape. You could have listened
That
to
looks a little bit better. So that gives the rock
look like.
more depth to it.
Do you listen to Spotify? Thanks for that.
From back here, you can see it has the light shining off of each individual rock. Let's see how the roof looks this time.
Thanks for listening to Spotify. No, really. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. You could have listened to an 8-track tape. If you knew what an 8-track tape looked like. But you listen to Spotify. Thanks for that. And you still have hundreds more playlists to enjoy.
Okay. Let's add them to the, let's do the grass. Let's see how the grass worked. The specular looked a little bit crazy, but you see how you have this uniform shine over the grass? So let's go to the grass now. And first we'll add the specular and see what difference that makes. So we'll go to the specular color. Go to File. Render the file, and we will add our grass spec, which is super bright. And just with the specular map, you can see how now the light only shines off of the shiniest parts of the grass. Kind of strong, like I think we can taper that down, but it's a lot more interesting than just one big flat shine over the whole thing, and it makes them feel more 3D. When we turn our light on again, you can see the light is actually shining off the top of the grass, and already that starts to give it depth, right? So now, just for funsies, let's add our normal map to that. Go to that same grass file under bump mapping. We'll hit the button, hit File, and under the bump value, might not want it on quadratic. I'm gonna try a couple different. Under grass, normal. Is our normal map right there. Hit enter. And it looks pretty harsh. We're gonna try. I think I messed it up. No, I think they're just really strong. So you can see each individual grass is kind of bumping out now. It's just really strong. So we should adjust that later. But now that you can see the light moves off of the grass individually now. It's just a really harsh normal. Turn that off. That needs some love and tuning, but I think as far as that goes, so that is an intro to normal maps. Can hear. So everyone here, Gloria's here. Gloria's checking that out. Okay, so I'm going to send out a Zoom invite to those people in my class, and we're going to chat a little bit about your projects. Yeah, I think it's me, 3D Mentor. I think it's reading wrong. This is how 3D Mentor taught me how to do it. So I'll get that fixed in just a minute. But yeah, so I think it went. So let's fix that. Yeah, I think it went into the wrong slot. Let's fix that. So it went to the wrong one. So it should have been that's why it looks so funny. Okay, let's go to grass. So bump map should have been tangent space normals, right? I'm going to look at this afterwards with 3D Mentor. He's going to help me out. But class, I'm going to send you out a Zoom link and we're going to chat about your latest models in there. And then I'm going to call 3D Mentor. I need a 3D Mentor right now. All right, we'll see you.